So a ton of stuff going on around Cyberpunk and even The Witcher today. Check out the headlines right here. Cyberpunk's big feature is getting a rework. This will change the way you play the game forever. Trust me, you're going to be experimenting with new builds going forward, and I cannot wait to see what the community does with this. Also, we have Cyberpunk just did something very big. This one thing changes the entire mindset at CD Projekt RED, and it just means the future is brighter than ever before. Also, we have this one right here. Cyberpunk, is it finally happening? CD Projekt RED is moving Cyberpunk in this direction. Is this actually possible? So this is really cool news. I'll explain in just a moment. Plus, we have this one right here. Cyberpunk's most requested DLC might surprise you. Fans desperately want this from Edgerunners. Yes, this would be very cool to get in the game. I'm wondering if CD Projekt RED will take this direction because it's so highly requested. Plus, Cyberpunk Edgerunners can continue to Season 2 and beyond. A genius idea from a fan reveals how Trigger Studio can do it. I have to mention this because it is such a great idea, and I really believe that, yes, Trigger Studio should pursue this for sure. And we have CD Projekt RED just revealed what Project Canis Majoris is. The Witcher Remake is using Unreal Engine 5. This is amazing news. And it looks like that, yes, CD Projekt RED is doubling down on the Witcher franchise. But yeah, check this out right here. All right, so we're back at my fancy smancy penthouse, and I've discovered something very cool. So let's take a look here. It looks like my army has been quite busy indeed. And look at this. My base just got upgraded too. Now, if you're wondering what in the world this is War Planet Online, a free-to-play massive multiplayer military strategy game on mobile, PC, and Mac through the Microsoft Store, Steam, and App Store. In War Planet Online, you can upgrade your base and build a wide variety of realistic military units, from tanks to helicopters and much more. Unlock new, more powerful commanders to do your bidding as you face off against AI troops and other players. You can even join an alliance to help other players conquer nations, or they can become your next targets. And I love the sense of exploration in this game. It's huge and encompasses the entire globe. Travel to New York City, Tokyo, and much more. It's endless. So join me right now for free in War Planet Online. Just click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on the screen, and you will get 4,000 army units, T1, and 4,000 medals, or an even bigger head start in the game. And get this, War Planet Online is giving away 40 vouchers. The first 40 players who download the game right now and reach level 10 in the game till November 10th will win a $100 Amazon e-gift card. Expect winners to be announced on November 25th and contacted in-game. And there's the great Rambo event going on right now as well. Yes, War Planet Online is celebrating the 40th anniversary of Rambo First Blood by including none other than Rambo himself in the game. Become a one-man army as you join John Rambo on a special mission as players experience the First Blood chain event operation. This is going on for a limited time, so check out that description to find out more. So what are you waiting for? Join me right now for free in War Planet Online. Just click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on the screen right now, and you will get 4,000 army units, T1, and 4,000 medals, or an even bigger head start in the game. And remember, the first 40 players who download the game right now and reach level 10 in the game till November 10th will win a $100 Amazon e-gift card. Remember, expect the winners to be announced on November 25th and contacted in-game. Click the link in the description below to get started with your War Planet Online adventure. Hope to see you there. All right, so let's get into the Cyberpunk news, shall we? Check it out right here. Cyberpunk hits 90% positive reviews on Steam for the first time ever. This is very big news. I'm sure it makes CD Projekt RED very happy. And you can see right here, if we scroll down on the actual Reddit post, you can see that we have a very positive reception from the most recent reviews, a 90% from 16,460 reviews right there, which is saying that people are really taking to this game, and that yes, what CD Projekt RED is doing with Cyberpunk 2077 is working out big time. And I'm sure that this helps the mindset of CD Projekt RED, that they have so much energy based on the positive reception for Cyberpunk 2077. And that energy is going directly into Phantom Liberty, the big expansion. So I'm having very high hopes for Phantom Liberty in the future. Now, the article goes on to say this. It says, I will note that Cyberpunk was reviewing with 71% positive reviews back during the launch of 2020. That already indicated that fans were enjoying it a little more than the anti-hype news cycles would have suggested back then. Let me know if you guys are in that boat or not. Though it's important to note that the game looked and performed best on PC. It still does, of course, but consoles were way rougher than they are today. You'll recall that Cyberpunk arrived with 9s and 10s from many critics who, again, were given only PC review copies and none of them played on console. I still think the 9s and 10s were ridiculous, even if it was on PC, considering some of the underwhelming features at that time and the fact that this game has no working police system. I mean, come on. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of that, if you were in the boat of like, oh, I enjoyed Cyberpunk from the beginning, or if you think, that the launch was especially rough for you personally. Now, it goes on to say this. There are now debates about whether Cyberpunk has experienced some sort of No Man's Sky type of turnaround, which is the gold standard for redemption stories. I'm not sure we can go that far, as No Man's Sky added just absolutely massive amounts of free content, and Cyberpunk's patches have mainly been about fixing what was broken or added obvious quality of life improvements. Its first real DLC will be next year's Phantom Liberty, and it ain't free. Yeah, I keep saying over and over, I want to see more free content added to Cyberpunk 2077. Now, when it comes to the expansion, I think developers need to actually be able to pay their rent, buy groceries, that sort of thing. So I'm willing to lay down money if it's a really good quality experience that is considered a major expansion. That's what they're calling it anyway. But yeah, I still want to see more free content for those of you in the community that have stuck around since the rough launch, for sure. All right, so we need to talk about that big feature that is going to be changing in Cyberpunk 2077. And guess what it is? It is melee combat. We are going to be getting a big rework for Cyberpunk 2077's melee combat with update 1.7. And I'm so hyped for this because it means that, yes, you will want to definitely experiment with builds going forward once this is actually implemented. I compare it to what they did with the throwing knife and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm super hyped for this, but check it out right here. It goes on to say this. You think we'll get any real melee changes? I'm going to zoom this in so you can all see this. It says this right here. I've been doing a full katana mantis blade build lately, and it's sort of been atrocious at times. The heavy attack execution animation is still a huge problem after all this time since it's released, so it encourages just spamming the light attack. Because of this, the melee combat falls flat really hard, aside from those very specific moments where I get lovely crits from a little bit too far from the animation to start, and I get to slice people up one after the other instead of having to wait for a really long and buggy animation. Sometimes the animation even glitches with Sandvestin, and I'm the only one slowed and stuck in the animation while enemies shoot me up. Mantis Blade's coolest feature, the lunging heavy attack, is just really awful to use because of how it basically always does a long, awful animation every single time you use it. So, do you guys think they'll fix melee combat, maybe even overhaul the system by the time we get the next major update or even the DLC? I'm really hoping they add things like deflecting some bullets with the katana or some kind of new moveset to the melee weapons. It's just sort of sad at the moment and has a lot of room for improvement. So, yes, I do think that we are going to be getting some absolutely huge changes to the melee combat, and I'm really excited to see what they do with also the melee weapons that they have added into the game more recently. They added a bunch of new melee weapons into the game, and this basically was laying the groundwork for future updates. So you got to always remember, whatever they do for one update, they're doing it for the next update. So I'm really curious to see what they do with these melee weapons in the future. Now, we keep going here. We have this one right here from Vincent 2077. He says, in 1 versus 1, you can stun lock enemies with katana or other melee weapons. It would be nice if they use smoke bomb like the Batman, or simply backstep and use Sandvestin to break free from players' combo and run away. I see Oda and a few Cyber Psycho enemies use the trick, though you can still kill them with OP quick hacks. It would be great if this ability is distributed by to other strong enemies like the NCPD crime bosses, or just in general enemies randomly spawn in the field. So yeah, one of the biggest problems with melee combat right now, as you can see from the gameplay here, is that you can easily stun lock enemies and just be relentless on them. If you do a heavy attack, they get stunned, and then you just, well, the light attack button over and over again. And that's pretty much it for the melee combat. And it would be really, really cool if they added more systems in play here, like a proper counter system or something like this. Now, we have this opinion right here as well. Check it out right here. This comes from Plant Food Clock, who says this: a general enemy AI is needed, but its good point about the melee just makes it too easy, and one of the reasons I don't play melee builds in most games. I think it'd be cool if there was a couple of options for enemies to get away, maybe even depending on what faction they are, and use cyberware, like enemies with Sanvestin could be able to use it to dash out, but maybe give some high backwards backflip. Or if they are a Netrunner Voodoo Boys enemy, make them have a hologram fade away in front of you while they get away. Just having some sort of variety would be nice. And you know, that would be really cool if they tied this into also using the throwing knife. I want to see where melee weapons really, really matter when they extend to other weapons in your arsenal. For example, being able to use melee weapons and build up some sort of charge within the enemy, and then you switch over to a weapon that can basically overcharge that enemy, causing or detonating the ability that you kind of have set within your weapon, your melee weapon. That would be very, very cool to see something like that. We've seen that in other games where there's like a combo system, and then you switch over and then you detonate the enemies. I just think it would fit so nicely into a melee build for Cyberpunk 2077, because then you would really be using your full arsenal and tying the weapons together as you play. Let me know what you guys think of that thought, but I really hope that they fully flesh this system out completely for sure. But it sounds exciting that we are getting a melee rework. It's cool to see that they've added so many melee weapons. I myself really like the melee in this game. As you can clearly see, one of my go-to weapons is the mono wire, and also the katana blade. And I do like the mantis blades, but I feel like they're just like tapping into it barely, and they could go full on with this in the future. All right, so we got to talk about the Edgerunners DLC that a lot of you guys want to see. Check this out right here. It says, would you play a Rebecca DLC? And my answer is, of course, I would love to see a Rebecca DLC in the future. In fact, I feel like they have not done nearly enough with Edgerunners DLC in Cyberpunk 2077, including Lucy. You know, we do have, of course, the mono wire that we can mess around with in Cyberpunk 2077, but I mean, I feel like they can do a lot more with this sort of thing and tie it directly into Edgerunners characters. Now, of course, we have gotten Rebecca's shotgun in Cyberpunk 2077, but come on now, they could do even more with Rebecca. And it's amazing how many of you want to see this, because as you can see over here, it's 6,200 upvotes. So you guys really, really want to see more Rebecca in Cyberpunk 2077, which I think would be really, really cool. Now, a lot of new players are discovering some kind of like hidden features in Cyberpunk 2077 that a lot of us have actually missed. Check this out right here. It says, just saw this on my second playthrough. Have these been there the whole time? And this one comes from Turok 907, 3,300 upvotes. And as you can see, we have the Slotomatic. We can actually go in here and purchase this one-time use weapon. It has no reloads on it. It's pretty cool, and I feel like it's kind of a nod maybe to the Borderlands franchise. I feel like that's its entire purpose, because beyond that, no one really uses those weapons. There was an exploit, of course, when Cyberpunk first came out, where you can kind of buy those weapons and sell it for a higher price. So maybe that was one of the reasons why it was included in the game. I'm not too sure, but yeah, let me know your opinion about this if you want to see more weapons like this in the future. But it's a cool little feature in the game that people have kind of missed for sure. All right, so let's talk about more Edgerunners, shall we? So check this out right here. It says, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, let me zoom it in, can continue to Season 2 and beyond. A genius idea from a fan reveals how Trigger studio can do it. And it comes from one of you guys. I actually posted this in my comments. I saw the comment today and I'm like, that is so genius. I have to highlight it here. This one comes from Tyler M, who says this. Let me zoom it in. David, oh geez, it says David is a street kid in the series. Seems like it would make sense to do a season for every life path. In each new season, the events of the previous season could play out in the background of the current season and connect in small ways. Seems like a winner to me. I love the idea of having it about the life paths. It makes sense. It connects to the game, to Cyberpunk 2077, and I would love for them to explore, you know, the corpo world, for example, a little bit more, or what it's like to be a nomad entering into a bustling, busy city. They could have that perspective, like the nomad absolutely hates this, can't stand the noise, something like that. That would be such a cool perspective for them to explore in Cyberpunk Edgerunners for sure. And that's one way, in my personal opinion, they could definitely do a season 2 and then have crossover characters and crossover storylines here and there throughout these seasons, which I think would be absolutely amazing. Let me know if you guys agree with this idea from Tyler. I think it would be very, very cool. Now, I wanted to touch base with this one as well, and I hope that this actually happens. It's an outcry, I guess you would say, for a fan project. Let's open up Night City. I'm not going to read the entire post. It comes from Rascott. But basically, the gist of this is that we need to open up Night City more and more. As you can see, we have mods here where they've opened up Lizzie's Bar, the Dewdrop Inn, and then a bunch of other locations have been opened up. But one location that has not really been touched, in my opinion, is the mega buildings. I want to see the mega buildings opened up way more than they have been, and I think it would be really, really cool if they did that. So I'm all for this project, and I hope that it actually happens. We'll have to wait and see. And we have this one right here. This was retweeted by CD Projekt RED. It says, we're thrilled to reveal that together with Fool's Theory, we're working on remaking The Witcher using Unreal Engine 5, codename Canis Majoris. We want to do this right, so please be patient. It's going to be a while until we can share more details. So yes, they have officially revealed that Canis Majoris is going to be The Witcher Remake, and this is going to be headed by veterans of the Witcher franchise. So it's in very, very good hands. It's going to be one of our first experiences with the Witcher franchise running on Unreal Engine 5. I'm thinking that this will release before The Witcher 4, so I cannot wait to see this. They have no release date on it, which is a bummer, but it's so cool to see that they are exploring the original Witcher and basically remaking it. I cannot wait to see what they do with this one. All right, so now it's time to get into your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. My most recent video was this one right here. Update 1.7. Wait, is this for real? All new update. So, yes, there was a recent mod that came out for Cyberpunk 2077 that tapped into the fact that there was a hidden feature, I guess you would call it, that was toggled off by CD Projekt RED. And guess what? They added in there a feature called Astonishing Crowds, where you have a lot more crowd interactivity, a lot more crowds in the streets, and it even changes traffic. But for some reason, it was disabled. This modder allowed us to enable it and experience it. So I'm thinking that that's going to be coming to the future of Cyberpunk 2077 with a patch or something like that with update 1.7 or even the expansion. So that's what the video was about. So yeah, let's get into your top comments about this one. The first one comes from Peninsula City 2024. Zoom this in, who goes on to say this: one thing that should change is how Wakako and Padre introduce themselves when you enter their district for the first time. It doesn't make sense that they talk to V as if they never met, even though the first gig you play, Wakako talks to V and Jackie with familiarity, and Padre is in the montage just before that mission, not to mention his dialogue during Jackie's ofrenda, suggesting they were close. Yeah, you know, again, it shows to me that the game was pieced together strangely, and there's some indications, in my opinion, that Keanu Reeves came into play in the game a little bit later on or halfway through development, and they kind of reworked things and stuff like that. So I think that's perhaps the reasoning behind some of these oddities in the game, or they could just be there because they didn't catch it. I don't know. But yeah, it would be really, really cool to see that stuff fleshed out and fixed for sure. Now, Prince Volton says this: I would love to flesh out the environment, more floors in mega blocks, bars, shops, etc., just to make the world feel more lived in. Yes, mega buildings. I keep mentioning it. Mega buildings, man. It would be so cool if they really fully realized mega buildings. They could do so much with this for sure. Now, Jonathan has an opinion. Says this: I love the option to have one or both your character's arms legs appears to be mechanical, especially if you could change the appearance. Basically like Johnny Silverhand's arm, but not holographic. And you could have it on both arms. I'd like to have a lot more options in tattoos too, both face and body. Honestly, I love the game and just hope the expansion adds more of everything. Yeah, that's been one of the highly requested features for sure, is being able to have more mechanical arms and things like that, and to really see it. And you know what that means? I want third person. I really would love to see them, by some miracle, add third person support to this game when it's all done and said, you know. Wouldn't that be just like, man, a mind-blowing surprise? Now, MB says this: I honestly want them to add more to the relationships. You have a whole city to do things in, but your love interest just hangs out in their area and don't talk much and get like a few instances of texting. I think they wanted to do that, what you're saying, but it's like a time thing. They just didn't have the time or something to really fully develop the relationship in the game. So I'm curious to see, based on a lot of your feedback, it seems like a lot of you guys love the romance, the relationships and things like that, even friendship, if they will pursue something that's more extensive with Phantom Liberty. If we're going to get like a little tease of what we could potentially expect from, like, say, Cyberpunk sequel, if they tap into that a little bit more. Again, we'll have to wait and see. Now, True Nomad says this: I really hope that Red Mod comes to consoles. Bethesda allowed console mods in both Skyrim and Fallout 4, and I believe it's one of the main reasons those games have such an active player base all of these years later. Never know. I mean, I'm shocked they even did Red Mod. I thought for sure they would not pursue that, but I was completely wrong about that one. So maybe, just maybe, they could do that with consoles, but honestly, I think it might be very complicated for them to do that. This game was not built from the ground up to support modding on consoles. But hey, who knows? Anything could be possible. Right now, it goes to show, by what they have shown with the, I guess you would call it like a roadmap for Cyberpunk, their focus is wholeheartedly on the expansion. And anything outside of that is going to be dedicated to update 1.7. And that's like a skeleton crew, I guess you would say. So to even ask for anything beyond that, like Red Mod support on consoles, don't hold your breath. But I really, really am rooting for console players. I hope, just cross my fingers, that you guys get mod support. Yes, that would change the future of Cyberpunk on all platforms for sure. And remember to join me in War Planet Online, a free-to-play massive multiplayer military strategy game on mobile, PC, and Mac through the Microsoft Store, Steam, and App Store. Upgrade your base and build a wide variety of realistic military units, from tanks to helicopters and much more. Unlock new, more powerful commanders to do your bidding as you face off against AI troops and other players, and participate in the limited time event featuring Rambo. So what are you waiting for? Join me right now for free in War Planet Online. Just click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on the screen, and you will get 4,000 army units, the T1, and 4,000 medals for an even bigger head start in the game. And don't forget, the first 40 players who download the game right now and reach level 10 in the game by November 10th, 2022 will win a $100 Amazon e-gift card. Expect the winners to be announced on November 25th and contacted in-game. Click the link in the description below to get started with your War Planet Online adventure. There it is. The latest happenings around Cyberpunk, and yeah, we even got Witcher Remake news. That made my face light up big time when I saw that today. So a lot of people kind of like missed out on the first Witcher game, and I think a lot of people will go into it, you know, very surprised for sure, especially since it's running on Unreal Engine 5. But anyway, there it is. Thanks for watching, and keep those comments coming, and I will see you all next time.